Hello ladies and gentlemen, today we are back in War Thunder looking at the beautiful aircraft which is the A-20G-30 Havoc. Now the way I describe this plane, it's the all-American fighter in my opinion. There's no use using this as a bomber because you have certain aircraft such as the Mitchell, such as any B-25 at the same tier which is just better at bombing, so use this as an attacker. So let's see what this thing can carry. It can either carry 4 500-pound bombs, which is pretty decent for an attacking aircraft, or 12 M10 bazookas, which are basically rockets. I would always say use the rockets. You always, especially with this new update, you will always have bombers on your team, so you might as well go for the rockets. It gives you that added versatility that bombs don't give you for obvious reasons. You can use them against aircraft as well. So, this thing has a 12.7mm on the underbelly of the aircraft, which is a turret facing backwards, and also a mounted top gun, which has two 12.7mm turrets. These things are very effective at keeping you alive. So, if anything comes from the back, they are also very well protected, so it's very hard to take them out. So, if you are getting attacked from behind, don't worry about it. Just keep flying. And also, this thing can take an absolute pounding, which we'll see later in this video. This thing is also really well equipped from the front for taking out anything. It has 6 12.7mm machine guns on the front of the aircraft, which can take out basically anything. As you can see here, I'm going after this PB wire, and after a few shots, I basically set it on fire in a minute, which shows that this thing tears through aircraft. For me, the PBY is one of the strongest bombers at this tier. Well, at its tier, I suppose. It's tier 1. The A-20 is a tier 2 aircraft, so the PBY at the moment is actually under-tiered. But, at its tier, it's very useful. So, the fact that I can tear through this thing, while going at critical speed, unfortunately, that's the problem. One of the problems with this thing, it doesn't climb very well, but it can be excused for that, because as you saw, I just took that out with no real problems, nothing coming after me. So even though it can't climb very well, in a dive it picks up a lot of speed, which is where you should use this the most. If you're going after ground targets, or if you're going after planes, you should either attack them in a head-to-head, such as I'm doing with this SBD here, or you should dive on them. You should never try and get on their tail and outmaneuver them, because this, obviously, it's an American plane, and this guy tries to ram me, completely misses, thank God. But anyway, this is an American plane, so it doesn't maneuver very well, and it seems the flight model is a bit broken at the moment. As you can see, my tail fin, which is what I like to call it on the back, even if I'm going in a straight line, it still keeps waving, and I don't know why that is. Maybe it's because of the air going past it, and because it's a large wing, it does move. But it seems a bit weird, in my opinion. But as you can see, my tail gunners are very protected on this plane. The tail fin is basically in the way of the two turrets. And luckily, if a plane is directly behind you, both of your turrets can shoot it because of the angle of the body of the A-20. Now, I always thought this plane was very overpowered, because it can take a lot of shots. And I still stick to that statement. It can get absolutely pounded, it can be all black, and you can still move it around very easily. Kind of like you can with stuff like Spitfires. And here you can see I'm using the rockets effectively, taking out 4 ground targets. So, they're very versatile. You can use them against fighters, you can use them against ground targets, even pillboxes. I use them to take out pillboxes most of the time, after I've taken out all the AA around it. But as I was saying, this thing can just eat bullets, especially when you get the modifications such as cover. And I've been hit quite a lot here. Yes, the enemy fighters aren't shooting me that much, but still, I haven't taken any damage so far. Nowhere on my plane there's a weak spot. The only weak spot I can talk about on this plane that I found is its engines. Sometimes you can get lucky, and it's the same with the B-25 Mitchell. If you shoot the engines, even with machine guns, you can sometimes get a lucky hit and then set them on fire. But apart from that, you're going to struggle against this thing. So what I would recommend trying to take it out is go for flybys. Basically strafe around it, take some shots and get away. Because otherwise you're gonna struggle. You really are going to, taking this out, as this I-16 finds out. He is absolutely blazing me with shots, and basically has done no damage. I have ridiculous turrets on the back, some 12.7mm, and we absolutely chew through that guy. And that's not even using the 6 machine guns on the front. Now with the new update, this being a tier 2 plane, I think that's good for this plane. For me, it was massively overpowered before in its tier, but with the new update, it's a bit better. Basically, now there are fighters which can easily take you out. They can easily outmaneuver you. If you have an A-20 pilot who doesn't know what it's doing, it's very hard. It's very easy to take him out. The only problem is the A-20 in a dive is so fast, it can get away from anything. As you saw before, I dived away from about 4 fighters. They gave up chase because I was going so much faster than them. And that's obviously something due to gravity, because this plane is so large, and its huge engines. Its engines provide a lot of power here. But also, its armaments are great at this level. It's another proof to show that you don't need cannons at this level to absolutely decimate planes. I've already taken out an I-16, I've taken out a PBY, one of the toughest planes at tier 1, and I haven't needed a single cannon or a rocket. So just bear that in mind. And I talked about the Typhoon before. The Typhoon is another classic example of this. And also, I don't know what this I-153 is doing. With this aircraft, the A-20, never engage it from the front, because the pilot is very much protected. It's got a big nose on it, and also the engines, so it's very hard to hit the pilot. So, if you're coming up against an A-20, for the love of God, do not attack it from the front. Attack it from the sides, where it doesn't have that much power. Attack it from underneath, where it only has 1 gun. And as you can see, one of the main things is I haven't even reloaded yet. After all of this time, I haven't even reloaded my guns. And finally, I have to reload. Not my turrets, but my front-facing 6 machine guns. So that shows how much this thing has in ammo. And also, I've taken a decent amount of damage, taken out a engine, and I'm still flying as easily as I was at the start of this battle. I don't have the same rate of climb, but who cares? I destroy another aircraft, which was our Sparviero, that lags on fire, and unfortunately the P400 with its cannons finally does a lot of damage to me, but I do crit it. So, I finally get taken out. But if that was any other attacking aircraft, such as the Bf-110, or any other fighter, I would have been taken out so much faster. Because this thing can eat bullets. It eats bullets for breakfast. It's your typical all-American fighter, or attacker. It can take a lot of bullets. It's not that maneuverable, but it has good firepower. It can move a lot. It is very good in a dive. It can get a lot of speed, but it only struggles when you try and turn fight against it. And as you can see in it, I got fighter, and also I got 4 ground strikes. I did very well in this thing. And this was the first match of the day. So this isn't me just picking out a game where I did really well. I never do that. I always pick one of the first games I play, just to make it a bit more real. I couldn't recommend this machine more. It is a great machine if you're struggling with War Thunder. It will bring up your confidence. So, thank you for watching, and have a great day.